he's someone who we believe in, and if he goes in there, then we'll follow.
Hunter, the last time we talked to you, you said you were going to get in your truck and drive to South Carolina and kind of clear your mind, or just think about the season. When you got home to South Carolina, what
Was that right after the season?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot to digest, I'm sure,
Yeah.
coming off last year.
Yeah, it was a long season, and so,
Yeah.
I just got home. You know, the last 2 summers I stayed out here. This summer I went back home and just got back to the fundamentals, back to the basics, back to why you love the game, and the biggest thing for me was that I learned through all of it was just to control what I can control, and I think getting pulled in a lot of different directions and expectations and unnecessary ones I put on myself. And just to go out there and have a great day, have a great practice, and take it one day at a time, one rep at a time, one route at a time, and have that kind of singular mindset, and then let everything else take care of what's going to happen next. And so that's really what I've taken from that.
Sometimes when people are looking at things from the outside, narratives can grow, and one was Hunter might not be able to flourish in this kind of an offense with Josh McDaniels. I'm sure you've heard some of that. What do you say to that type of narrative?
I'm practicing hard to try to, right? I think all of us are. I think everyone out there at practice is doing what they can, because they owe it not only to themselves, but they owe it to their teammates. And I think that's the important thing. And that's the big thing for me, where I felt like I let a lot of my teammates down last year. And that's something that left a bad taste in my mouth, and something that I want to get over and prove to them, through the spring and also going into the season, that I'm a guy that they can count on, and it's going to be consistent.
All right, this offseason there's been a lot of kind of reports with your name circulating, whether it's trade rumors and things of that nature. I know that's kind of part of the NFL business, but what's been your kind of response to that as a player?
As far as what? Sorry.
Just sort of like your response to kind of your name being out
Yeah.
there.
Just have fun every day and control what I can control. And, going out there with my teammates and just playing the best that I can, and having fun with it. I think, I didn't necessarily have a lot of fun last year, and so that's my big thing for this year, is find ways to have fun and, not really care about the outside noise, and just go out there and, go in with my teammates and find a way to have a blast.
Do you feel like you have a better understanding since it is year 2, and
Yeah.
you kind of know what happened year 1, and you know where to correct it and how to make it better?
Yeah, I'm trying to find ways to correct it, right? But just from the spring and the verbiage, and going through these first few days of these first few installs, everything is so much more smooth, so much more familiar, and the guys are familiar, the coaching staff's familiar how they coach, and so I feel like I'm in a lot better place than I was this time last year.
You said you didn't have a lot of fun. Was it because of the injuries and the transition to the new offense, a combination of both, one or the other?
I think a lot of expectations I put on myself, and a lot of just trying to do too much, and feel like I've always gone by the 2 things of the way I measure my success in the season is not letting my teammates down and being the reason why we win games. And I feel like I didn't do a very good job of either one of those last year, and that's why I didn't have the most fun. But there were some good parts of last year, the things we can take from, and I enjoyed all my teammates and that sort of deal. But I want to definitely give them the best version of myself.
Under this offseason, you guys brought in Danny Amendola as a coaching assistant. I know you guys kind of have some similarities in the way that he, ran in that New England offense and what you do here. How has he been able to help you since he's come along?
Yeah, just how he sees the game, and he's done it right. Coach Lombardi and Nick and Josh, they've done a great job of coaching it right, and they're great coaches. But for DA to go out there and show us how it's done, and kind of pull me aside when it's needed to, this is what I'm seeing, this is how I run this, how I view this is how I kind of look at coverage. It helps you a lot, and it gives you confidence to know that he's done it, and he knows what to look for.
Hunter, you were kind of banged up last year. Did you do anything this offseason in terms of your offseason training program to kind of get you ready and prepared for 2023?
Not really. You always do a little extra, right? But I'm hoping last year was a fluke, and you always do things core wise and strength training wise to prepare yourself. But I like to think that I've been playing at a decent level. I Clemson for 4 or 5 years, and 4 or 5 years here. So I didn't want to get all scared all of a sudden and think I could do all this and change who I am. And so just getting back to the basics.
Thank you.
Hunter, first couple of days with Jimmy.
Consistent. You know, he's what you want in a quarterback. He's a leader, and so you know, he's a great guy in the locker room, and so can't say enough good things about him. And he's won everywhere he's been. So you know, just following his lead and kind of jumping on his back and going from there.
I know he did a lot of work behind the scenes.
Does it even more play in your head about that in terms of protecting him this year and how important it is to protect him?
You know, my job and the rest of the other four guys on the offensive line is to keep the quarterback healthy at all times. So, you know, that job isn't changing. We want to keep him as healthy and as clean as we can for every game. So,
Hunter, I'm sure there were a lot of times in training camp last year where you're looking to your right and left, wondering who exactly was lining up alongside you. It seems like that's changed a little bit this year, where a little more consistency. How much better does that feel, kind of bringing back the same five and moving forward with that group?
it's awesome. You know what I mean? The O-line is all about cohesiveness and gelling together. Like I've said before a lot of times, that chemistry playing between different guys you played with before, it's very helpful and it's very familiar feeling. So our challenge is to keep working every day and just keep growing, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Andre, people who've played with Jimmy before talk about the way he gets rid of the ball really quick. I'm just curious, you obviously played no games with him, no pads, but how much will that improve this offense, his ability to just get rid of the ball so quick?
Yeah, I'm sure it would help us out a lot. As offensive line, you want to get that ball out quick because it makes your job easier. But you know, our job's going to stay the same. We want to block and protect him for as long as we can. That's what we're going to continue to do.
When's the first time you actually snapped the ball, Jimmy? Was it like a big day in the calendar, kind of like, gotta go through it, how'd that feel?
Yeah, 2 days ago. 2 days ago was the first time. So, you know, it was actually funny. I was looking forward to it. I was thinking like this past offseason, I was like, man, I ain't even snapped him yet. So 2 days ago was our first time, and it was good, man. We're just going to continue to keep working together, and you know, the more reps you do, the more you get familiar with someone, and that's what we're doing, and we're just going to continue to grow together, and it's going to be good.
Max says he talks trash. Does he talk trash out there?
Oh yeah, he's a big talker. You know, him and Jermaine go back and forth. That I have to get Jermaine back in the huddle all the time. Like he likes to get in your head. It's fun. It's fun playing with dudes like that. I try to stay in my own element. I can't say too much about that.
With that being said, what's like the, not misconception, but what's the biggest thing that you learned about Jimmy that you would have never thought about him just on the outside looking in?
Man, he's just one of the boys. You know, he comes in and he just kicks it with us, and you know, he's willing to hang out with us in the locker room. You know, he's just an ordinary dude. That's what we love. He's just one of the guys. I can't say too much more about that.
Andre, can you talk?
You won't really be able to get to know Jimmy until you see his grilling skills.
Yeah, I've heard he can throw down too. So hopefully we'll have a little cook-off here there.
Andre, Dylan Parham.
Jimmy wasn't there in the spring, and then Josh isn't there now. You know, whatever issues might come from that, you know, obviously it could be erased with great O-line play. You know, how much, you know, do you guys embrace that challenge to be as good as you can for the benefit of kind of all of that?
Yeah, we're just taking the mentality that who's ever back there running that rock, we're going.
I think, you know, training camp's a big part of that. Preseason games are always huge for me. I really enjoy playing in them. Just getting that feel for, you know, being in that atmosphere again, like a game day atmosphere. Because I mean, it's a long time since we played our last game. So I think trying to get in that mindset of, you know, those pressure situations. You can try and do it in practice, but I think as you get on in your career, it's a little harder to, you know, put yourself in that until you get into an actual game in the stadium with the crowd and stuff. But I mean, that's what's always the most fun. And so you try and put yourself in those situations. Coaches put you in that situation where, you know, if you miss a kick, you might have to run, stuff like that later on in training camp. Just to, you know, so that once you're, just like any other position, once you actually get to the game, it's easy then, hopefully.
Along those lines, do you want to be like locked in at this point in camp, or do you want to ramp up to being mentally sharp?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think over the years, there's a balance of like, don't peak too early. I think there's, you know, I've had points in my career where I've come into camp kicking my best, and then by the end of the season, I feel worn out almost. So I think there's a balance, and I try and, you know, limit my off season because the tendency is to overwork in the off season almost. And so I think we try and be careful about, hey, make sure you take a month off, completely reset, get your mind. Because I think the mental strain's the hardest for me. And so then, you know, just figuring out kind of what that timeline looks like for you to start peaking week 1, and then, you know, hopefully maintaining that or continuing to peak all the way through. Obviously, playoffs would be the goal to play your best ball.